This is our globe as seen from space. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see the South American continent. The biggest country on this continent is Brazil. Brazil is the world's 5th largest country by area and 7th most populous, with 8.5 million square kilometers, 3.3 million square miles, and over 217 million inhabitants. Now if we zoom a little bit into the north of Brazil, we can see the Amazon rainforest, the world's largest jungle, to the north of the map. Although Brazil has the majority of the Amazon, Peru and Colombia also have portions of it. Before we can explore the terrifying discoveries hidden in the Brazilian rainforest, first you need some basic information about the region. The Amazon rainforest is full of terrifying and mysterious discoveries, but, to fully acknowledge these, some knowledge about Brazil and its rainforest is essential. Brazil has a spectacularly diversified landscape. It is well known for its vast woodlands. There are, however, immense swamps, rugged hills, pine woodlands, parched grasslands, massive plateaus, and a long coastal plain. Northern Brazil is dominated by the Amazon River and its surrounding rainforest. The Amazon is a network of hundreds of rivers, not just one. The river is home to hundreds of species, including the renowned piranha and the boto, or pink river dolphin. It is 4,250 miles, or 6,840 kilometers long in total. Brazil has the world's most diverse animal population. It is home to 600 diverse mammal species, 3,000 separate fish species, 1,600 distinct bird species, and an incredible 100,000 distinct insect species, and many more that have not been discovered yet. Brazil's jungles are home to the vast bulk of its animal species. The Amazon rainforest is the world's richest and most varied biological reservoir. Many species of myrtle, laurel, palm, and acacia, as well as rosewood, Brazil nut, and rubber tree, are found among the lush greenery. Mahogany and Amazonian cedar provide excellent timber. Major wildlife includes jaguars, manatees, tapirs, red deer, capybaras, and several other rodents and monkeys. Brazil's rapidly expanding population inhabited large portions of the Amazon rainforest in the 20th century. As a result of people clearing the area to gather lumber and establish grazing meadows and cropland, the amount of the Amazon forest declined considerably. The Amazon rainforest holds more than half of the world's remaining rainforests and is the world's largest and most biodiverse tract of tropical rainforest, with an estimated 390 billion individual trees separated into 16,000 species. In addition to its remarkable diversity of life, the Amazon plays an important role in climate regulation. The Amazon basin holds 100 billion metric tons of carbon, which is more than 10 times the yearly global emissions from fossil fuels. Although the pampas and semi-desert areas are also home to numerous rare species. In the central western part of Brazil is a flat, swampy area located called the Pantanal. This patchwork of small islands and flooded lagoons is the world's largest wetland. This region is home to enormous anacondas, big guinea pig relatives known as capybaras, and scary South American alligators known as caimans. People have been exploring the Brazilian woods for thousands of years, and various terrifying finds have been made from deadly monsters to ancient Brazilians who tore flesh off the dead and consumed their remnants. Join us in this video to explore some terrifying, fascinating, and shocking discoveries in Brazil that change everything. Number 9. The 33-foot monster. The largest anaconda ever discovered was discovered on a Brazilian construction site. Anacondas are extremely lethal snakes despite the fact that they lack poison. Anacondas can grow to be 20 feet long and weigh hundreds of pounds. They typically kill huge animals such as deer and, in rare cases, jaguars. Although their method of attack is not particularly unique, it is devastating. They belong to the boa family and are known as constrictors. These creatures typically lurk beneath the water's surface, the tops of their heads projecting. They charge in the direction of possible prey. When they see the snake approaching, they seize them with their mouths and begin looping around them. After they have ceased all attempts at escape, they will continue to constrict strongly until the victim is dead. Constriction is harmful on numerous levels, culminating in organ failure or strangulation in the prey. In either instance, the anaconda is tough to avoid because it totally consumes its prey. This snake, discovered in Brazil, was 33 feet long, 3 feet wide, and weighed approximately 880 pounds. Unfortunately, it either was already dead when they discovered the snake or was murdered by construction workers when it emerged. In any case, humans were responsible for the death of the largest anaconda ever discovered. This means that no independent organization was able to accurately measure or document the anaconda in order to support the reported size of the animal. Although there is a video of the snake, the viewpoint may be misconstrued, and recordings may be modified without proper citations or evidence. According to one report, there have been multiple stories of allegedly record-breaking anacondas. The largest snake they discovered was 27.7 feet long, 3 feet in circumference, and weighed more than 500 pounds. There's a high chance that the actual largest anaconda has never been observed or measured. It's difficult to say what lurks beneath the seas or in the vast Amazon River basin's burrows, considering that humanity has only accidentally found the green anaconda in Brazil. We never know what lurks in the deep. Number 8. The Manaconda. The Amazon has discovered a weird critter that some feel mimics a piece of the male anatomy. Brazil is home to some breathtaking fauna, but this snake-like species, on the other hand, is on the more repellent end of the natural spectrum. This slick creature is the Atratachona izelti, which is known for resembling, well, you know what, I guess. This unpleasant serpent, which resembles something pretty rude, lives in the Amazonian waters. The reptilian snake-like creature, despite its look as a smutty serpent, is actually an amphibian, not a reptile. The appalling creature was originally observed in Amazonian waters in 1968, and there were no additional credible sightings until an entire family of them was discovered in 2012. Despite the fact that nothing is known about these so-called penis snakes, which can grow to be over 1 meter long, the extraordinary finding thrust them into the scientific spotlight. These girthy giants' phallic amphibians are extremely rare, and little is known about them. Although experts are aware that the amphibious animals are blind and live in the fast-moving Amazon River. There is also speculation that it lacks lungs and breathes through its skin, though no confirmation has been found yet. Since its discovery, it has been observed eating worms and small fish. Because of its striking resemblance to the genital organ, the unique creature has been mockingly dubbed the Manaconda. In contrast to Brazil's multiple dangerous spider species, this aquatic creature is absolutely harmless and poses no concern to any person who happens to come across one. Number 7. A terrifying, bone-crushing reptile. A fearsome, bone-crushing creature that dined on an early dinosaur carcass 230 million years ago was discovered in Brazil. It is thought to be linked to modern crocodiles. The Dinomastocyus fossils were discovered in a so-called dinosaur graveyard at the foot of a hill in the scenic Brazilian town of Agudo. The fossils measured a length of 7.7 feet. Its name, which refers to its powerful bite, means strong croc. Its slow biting rate, on the other hand, would have suggested that it was a scavenger, which it most likely was. The Dinomastocyus calicensis had a long snout and tail, massive jaws, and large blade-like teeth suitable for eating flesh. The rear of the monster was coated in 2 rows of bone plates, and its cranium resembled that of a rixus. It belonged to a tribe known as the Ornithocechidae. It was the Tyrannosaurus rex of its day, walking on 4 legs and running on its 2 hind limbs at a time when the first dinosaurs had only recently begun to develop. The terrifying Dinomastocyus was a 7-foot-long species at the top of the food chain that was roaming through Brazil's Amazon rainforest in the early days of the continent, and we certainly can be glad they are not present anymore. Number 6. The chocolate frog. New discoveries are continuously being made in the Amazon rainforest. At the beginning of the year, a snapshot of an odd-looking amphibian went viral on Twitter, where it was described as a smooth lil fella, compared to melted Tootsie Roll sweets, and linked to Harry Potter's chocolate frogs. This odd discovery wasn't made in Brazil. It was made in another country that holds parts of the all-throughout connected Amazon rainforest. The discovery was made in Peru, to be precise, the Peruvian Amazon. It is fascinating to think about how big the Amazon rainforest is, stretching across the South American continent so vastly, and how deeply connected the people, animals, and nature are in this area and have been for thousands of years. I'm quite surprised at how fast the popularity of this frog is rising up. German Chavez, a researcher at the Peruvian Institute of Herpetology, and one of the scientists to describe the frog. I'm not sure whether it is because of the tapir-like profile or its chocolate texturized skin. Chavez and colleagues discovered the little, long-snouted frog during a quick inventory in Peru, in one of the Amazon rainforest's rarest ecosystems, the Amazon peatlands, a swampy wetland filled with rotting vegetation. Tapir frog's small size makes it ideal for burrowing into soft, damp peat. The researchers believe that, along with other burrowing mammals, may have an impact on soil and water infiltration, playing a vital function in the peatland ecosystem. The frogs are tiny, about the size of a quarter, said Michelle Thompson, a researcher at Chicago's Field Museum's Keller Science Action Center who was part of the team that discovered the frog. They're underground, and they're quick, she said, so the team relied on sound. When they heard an unfamiliar beep call, they sprang into action. Suddenly, from underground, we heard one of the males calling. Chavez stated, "I had to place my ear right on the dirt, touching it, to figure out where this frog was calling from." Another team member, David Sanchez from Colombia's Amazon Institute for Scientific Research, recommended drawing an imaginary square around the source of the call and digging by hand, according to Chavez. Once we triangulated the sound, we had to be patient as we moved in on where to dig because they would become silent as we came close, Thompson explained to Mongabe. We had to turn out our lights, sit motionless, and wait until they called again. Then when we heard them we would frantically dig and eventually we got lucky. On the expedition, the crew discovered 1 young and 2 adult frogs. These specimens, together with the recording and DNA analysis, proved that the frog is a new species to science. Cynoepterenus danta is the scientific name for it. Danta is Spanish for tapir, a large rainforest mammal with a unique snout. The frog's detailed description was published in the journal Evolutionary Systematics. The tapir frog's peatland habitat is located within a proposed conservation area on unclassified federal land, close to a named indigenous territory in Yaguas National Park. Many indigenous people live in the area, including the people of Peru's Comunidad Nativa Tres Esquinas, who led the researchers to the tapir frog. Although the species is new to science, it is not new to the locals of the Peruvian Amazon forest. Number 5. Horrific rituals of ancient Brazil. Cannibalism and the removal of teeth and muscles from the body were among the horrible ceremonies performed by ancient Brazilians on their deceased. Experts on the continent are now discovering the earliest evidence that humans performed these rites on dead bodies. These skulls were discovered in Lapa do Santo, a Lagocenter cave that was used as a burial ground between 10,300 and 10,600 years ago. Anthropologists discovered the disembodied skull and jaw in a depression close to the cave's surface. They were covered in limestone slabs, together with the first 6 vertebrae and 2 severed hands, indicating a complete burial. The skull was distinct from the other remains uncovered in the cave, indicating that burial practices among these prehistoric individuals were more sophisticated than previously imagined. The hands had been separated from the rest of the body and placed palm down over the face, with the right hand pointing down on the left side of the face and the left hand pointing upward on the right. According to Dr. Domingo Carlos Salazar, another researcher participating on the project at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, Garcia's decapitation does not appear to have been a violent act, as confirmed by analysis of his severed skull. The young man was not a defeated foe, but rather a member of the cave's human population. It was once thought that the careful placing of the hands and skulls indicated that the disembodied mint was conducted as part of a ritual or ceremonial. The presence of small incision scars on the skull suggests that the soft tissue surrounding it was also removed before it was buried. Academics do not discuss why people came to engage in these heinous activities in depth. Certain tribes in Brazil, on the other hand, would commemorate their deceased by eating them, a practice known as endocannibalism. They believed it cemented an enduring link with their kind. They would first decrease the body by cannibalism, defecation, tooth extraction, and mutilation. They would then adhere to strict criteria for a second burial. Number 4. Glass frogs. Costa Rica has identified a new species of Kermit-like translucent glass frogs. Like Jim Henson's musical frog with bulging white eyes and dots on black pupils that rocked the internet. This frog, however, is unable to sing. In fact, according to a new study, its long whistle, which resembles that of an insect, may have deterred scientists from spotting it for so long. The last glass frog was discovered in 1973 in Costa Rica. The glass frogs of Central and South America are so called because their bones, intestines, and beating hearts can be seen through the skin that covers their torso and limbs. The explanation for their unusual appearance has largely gone unexplored. But new research has discovered that the frog's glass-like skin helps them blend in and avoid being noticed by predators. Although the new frog is similar to Kermit, it is not as charming. Male glass frogs are extremely territorial, and any other males who enter on their territory will be attacked. It's amazing to discover a see-through frog, but most of us wouldn't want to see the first thing in the morning or the last thing at night. Naturally, we wouldn't appreciate having a frog's internal organs forced in our faces on a regular basis. Or do you prefer it this way? Number 3. Discovery of a small-sized titanosaurian. Basically, every year scientists make new exciting discoveries in Brazil. Recently, paleontologists have discovered a small titanosaurian dinosaur in the Brazilian state of São Paulo. The newly found dinosaur species lived on Earth between the late Santonian and early Campanian epochs of the Upper Cretaceous epoch, roughly 83 million years ago. The ancient species, known as Iberania parva, had a body length of 5.7 meters or 18.7 feet. It is one of the smallest sauropods ever discovered, roughly the size of the Titanosaur Majurosaurus. It belonged to the Titanosauria, a varied group of long-necked sauropod dinosaurs that existed from the late Jurassic until the end of the Cretaceous period. Titanosauria is a clade of neosauropods with a remarkable diversity and worldwide distribution, said Dr. Bruno Navarro, a paleontologist with the Museu de Zoologia at the Universidade de São Paulo, and his colleagues from Brazil and Germany. They are known to exhibit conspicuous body size disparity marked by the occurrence of giant and nanoid species. They represent the most typical large-bodied herbivorous faunal component in the late Cretaceous biotasks from the southern continents. Nonetheless, they are also present in Laurasia, with some forms from the early Cretaceous. At least 4 Iberania parva specimens were collected from an outcrop of the São José do Rio Preto formation in Vila Ventura, southeastern São Paulo state, Brazil. Bananism observed in Iberania parva is associated with the evolution of an endemic fauna in response to the stressed environment conditions of the São José do Rio Preto formation, characterized by prolonged drought periods, the paleontologists said. They also discovered that Iberania parva was a member of the Saltasaurinae, a family of titanosaurian dinosaurs previously known only in small sizes. This new species not only represents one of the smallest sauropods described to date but, according to our expanded phylogenetic analysis, also represents to the first unequivocal Saltasaurian titanosaurian reported for Brazil, they said. In South America, Saltasaurians display a conspicuous reduction in their body sizes, which has been explained as either a response to geographical restriction to a vast north-south coastal corridor of the Andean region in the latest Cretaceous, or to occupation of new and restricted environments formerly occupied by diplodocoid sauropods. Number 2. The horned beast of Bahia, Brazil. During the summer months in the Brazilian state of Bahia, it is not uncommon for a huge influx of American tourists to use the coastal villages as a summer getaway vacation location. It was during the peak tourist season. A weird photograph came from the Brazilian state of Bahia, of what can only be described as a demonic-looking, humanoid horned beast bathing in a murky river surrounded by dense mangrove trees while carrying what appears to be a little child's body dangling in its arms. Although there is little accurate information about the photograph circulating on the internet, numerous reports claim that it was shot by a young female American tourist, thought to be only 15 years old, who spotted the weird creature and snapped the fast photo before fleeing the area. Given the image's remarkable clarity, many people assumed that if it was faked, it had to be through the use of practical effects or a misidentification on the part of the little girl who snapped the photo. Some have attempted to explain the snapshot by suggesting that the creature shown in the image is simply a clam fisherman, as the area is well renowned for clam fishing, with many clam fishers utilizing secluded areas as their personal hotspots. The image, on the other hand, depicts a man entirely buried in muck from head to toe, with his mouth, eyes, and skin all gray and lacking any pinkish flesh or human features. The creature's horns have been dismissed as nothing more than mud-coated hair pointing in opposite directions. The photograph, on the other hand, plainly depicts the creature has a bald dome-like head with sharp protrusions from the sides and no apparent clumps of hair evident. Every skeptic explanation also ignores what looks to be a limp child's body dangling from the creature's arms. There have been several sightings of the Bahia horned beast throughout the years, leading many to wonder if the dense forest trees and unclaimed natural terrain hide a dark and dangerous, demonic entity that preys on the countless number of individuals who go missing each year. There is currently no other evidence gathered surrounding the terrifying beast. Number 1. The Mapinguari. The Mapinguari is one of the oddest objects ever unearthed in Brazil. In fact, it could not even exist. It's been spotted as far south as Paraguay, as well as in Brazil and Venezuela. And folklore from Brazil. It's the Juma, often known as the giant hairy wildman. It is said to live in the Amazonian rainforest. Its name can be translated as the screaming monster, the fetid beast, the crooked beast, or any combination of these. Some believe the monster is a cyclops with human characteristics. The look of the mapping quarry, on the other hand, varies depending on the storyteller. Despite this, it is frequently represented as having a gaping mouth on its belly. When standing on two legs, the creature is at least 7 feet tall. It is reported to be a dark crimson beast with a monkey's face and a massive bear's torso, stalking the Amazonian jungle while trailing a cloud of flying beetles. Its upright form is unsettlingly similar to that of a human body. It is reported that its awful odor comes from the second mouth in its belly, and its roar sounds like never-ending thunder. According to ornithologist David Oren, hearing it makes you want to run in the opposite direction because it's completely terrifying. So, is it true? Several people have reported encounters with a mapinguari. So many that a small group of scientists mounted an expedition to find the creature a few years ago. Despite their inability to identify it, they agreed that any encounters with the monster were most likely with a huge ground sloth. The Megaetherium, also known as the gigantic sloth, was larger than an elephant. Megaetherium americanum was one of the largest animals in its ecosystem, weighing up to 4 tons or 8,800 pounds and measuring 2.1 meters or 6 feet 11 inches in length from head to tail. It was one of the biggest ground sloths, roughly the size of a modern Asian elephant. Megaetherium species were Pleistocene megafauna, or enormous mammals that lived throughout the Pleistocene period. Megaetherium's skeleton was strong, with a big pelvic girdle and a broad muscular tail. Its huge stature allowed it to graze at heights that other modern herbivores could not. Megaetherium could sustain its immense body weight by rising on its powerful hind legs and utilizing its tail to form a tripod, while using the curved claws on its long forelegs to pull down branches with the best leaves. Because its claws prohibited it from putting its feet flat on the ground, this sloth, like a modern anteater, walked on the sides of its feet. Although it was predominantly a quadruped, its trackways indicate that it could move on 2 legs. Biomechanical study indicates that it adapted to bipedalism as well. It most certainly lived till 8,500 years ago, but it is now thought to be extinct. Yet, for the past 8,500 years there still have been reported sightings of the giant sloth. So maybe it could still be hiding somewhere in the untouched parts of the jungle. Maybe some of those sightings were also responsible for the mapping quarry sighting. But we just cannot know for sure at this point in time. Until a living or dead mapping quarry is discovered, it will stay a myth that hasn't been verified. But many people believe it's out there somewhere waiting to be discovered. Tell us what you think about these terrifying discoveries in the comments below.